Welcome to Shrimperscast with me, Paul Hill.
And me, Steve Mansfield. On today's show,
Woeful against Woking at home before smashing Solihull on the road as Blue Boys make it 11 unbeaten.
Coca at the double and cards bags as well to leave Southend sitting pretty in 10th place.
We sit down with our boy D1versity to get the scoop on Solihull and hear more about his Southend United adventures.
And Paul gets excited as we preview a busy Easter weekend. Hello and welcome to another episode of Shrimperscast. I'm here with Paul. Paul, how are you doing, my friend?
Very well, thank you, sir. And how the devil are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, thanks. Pretty good. Been very busy. Busy with work, busy with family, busy.
Lovely.
How are you? I know, so a little apology to our listeners. We did skip a week last week because you were unwell.
Yep.
Are you feeling better, Paul?
Yes.
I hope so.
Very much so.
You're very close to me at the moment, so I hope you're
good,
better.
Man. No, I couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah.
I felt a bit fluey. Every joint was hurting. I literally got out of bed to go to the toilet and I just bash, hit the floor. Yeah.
Poorly, Paul, very poorly.
Paul, yeah.
But you fully recovered.
Yeah. Kids all looked after me and then, just lost the weekend. It's annoying, isn't it? You work all week and you think, loads of football going on. It's going to be great. Southend away at Hartlepool. I thought, I can listen to it on the radio. Couldn't even open my eyes.
Oh, nightmare. But here you are back, fighting fit, raring to go. And there was some news, wasn't there, Paul, last week that we do need to discuss. Southend's legendary manager, Kevin Mayer, former player, former captain, now legend of the city, was awarded a strange, archaic award.
Absolutely.
Tell us about this, Paul. Tell us about this.
He has been awarded Freedom of the City of Southend and thoroughly deserved too, because arguably leading Southend United through its darkest times ever as a football club.
Hold on. Yeah. I agree. He deserves it.
Yeah.
But what does it mean?
What, freedom of the sea?
What does freedom? Does it mean he can? Well, I mean, we've all got surely freedom. I can drive along the A127 when I want to.
True.
I can go to Priory Park to look at the nice gardens. So what extra freedoms does Kev get that I don't?
Well, it doesn't get free coffee, or it doesn't mean he can go to the toilet wherever he wants, or anything like that. It basically means that he can walk into the city, right, banging a drum, wearing his colours, obviously Southend United colours, with a bayonet. Fixed. Yeah. I mean, seriously. He can walk in with a gun and just start pointing at people and I've got freedom. He can do whatever he wants. Apparently, that's the old law-ish thing about it. But he's only the third person to ever receive the Freedom of the City of Southend. So he's in a good company and thoroughly deserved to. And so huge congrats, Kev, and the team, really, because it was, him, the three amigos. I'd actually like to see that, him, Benno and Curry, bowling up through Victoria Avenue with a couple of drums and bayonets.
Sounds like something out of Braveheart or something.
All the way down to the pier, put a flag on the end of it. Bosh.
Excellent. Well, congratulations, Kev. And we've got a couple of games to talk through. So let's start with the one that you attended on Saturday. Possibly the worst game of football anyone's ever witnessed. A 0-0 at home against Woking. Paul, talk us through it.
Well, if you were to look up ball draw on the internet, you will see a picture of Roots Hall.
Yeah.
It was diabolical. And it just wasn't a great game by both sides, really, to be honest. It was one of those ones, I don't know, we had about 18 rounds of head tennis every 10 minutes. It was, just couldn't, neither side could get going. I think it took about a quarter of an hour, maybe 20 minutes before Bridge touched the ball. Half hour until we got our first shot away. It was just rubbish.
Yeah.
Just, but very sloppy, very slow. Just, very lacklustre. Nothing was working. But do you know what though? There was trying to find positives because I know it's a clean sheet, and then there's another game unbeaten.
Yeah.
But I thought Miley and Hussein were trying quite well, and it's nice to see Miley now getting back to his best.
Yeah.
It was nice. He was getting stuck in.
Yeah.
And pulling the strings a little. Well, trying to pull the strings in midfield. But, there's not really much to report on it. Do you know, the highlight of the game for me was in the second half where everyone was cheering every time a Woking fan got thrown out. I mean, there's about one got thrown out, then it was like, ooh, and there's another one.
What were they getting thrown out for?
just gobbing off, I think.
Yeah.
Just being general scallywags.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3 or 4 or 5 of them just all got their marching orders out of the hall, and we all gave him a good old wave off. Cheerio, cheerio. But it was just, it wasn't the best game. But you're going to get them, aren't you? Yeah. You know, not every game is going to be an absolute classic. And yeah, that Woking game, they needed a point. I think they're going to be happy with that, really.
Did they set up to frustrate, or did you think they were trying to get the win? Was it just...
I mean, when the ball finally got on the ground and they strung 3 passes together, they got in front of our goal, and then the finishing was just dreadful, really poor from them. We weren't much better, to be honest, and it was just wasn't good on the eye.
Okay, so you mentioned Miley there. So we did talk about him a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? Where you made the point that Southend seemed to keep kind of conceding through the middle, and teams just kind of overrun the midfield, and then all of a sudden they're through, and you know we're kind of low on numbers at the back, and goals kept getting conceded that way. So what you're saying is that he looks like he might have found a bit of form and reversed that, and we might be slightly sort of stronger in the middle of the park.
He got stuck in with the Woking mob. You know, the one player that I thought was a little bit out of sorts was Mr. Crowther, unfortunately. I think he had a bit of a stinker. He wasn't the worst performance, but passes were being misplaced. He wasn't getting involved as much, and then it was a bit frustrating. But like all players get them games, don't we? You know, you have these little bits. You're going to have a bad game. Not every game is going to be super duper. But we didn't lose. We didn't win. And
one of them.
One of those ones.
Put it down to experience.
Yeah.
But like you say, another game unbeaten. And last night, so we're recording on Wednesday, and last night Southend went away to Solihull Moors.
Yes.
And well, they turned it on, didn't they? They turned it on. So a 3-0 victory on the road. We are going to talk in depth to our man Pip, aka D1versity, a little bit later. And actually, he's our special guest this week. So we're going to be going a bit more in depth with Pip to find out all about his vlogging and his kind of unhealthy obsession with following Southend everywhere. Before we get to that, Paul, you weren't there, but you've seen the highlights. So I mean, what did you make of it?
No, excellent. We smashed it up a bit. Husin didn't make the squad. Ollie Coker came back in as well. Nice to see Harry Taylor come back as well. Kensdale, I mean, he played against Woking. He's wearing a mask now to protect his mush.
Yeah,
because of the nasty whack he got. And for the first kind of 15, 20 minutes, you're thinking, oh, here we go. A bit sloppy at the back. They hit the bar from a free kick. And you're thinking, oh, they're going to score in a minute. But then how wrong was I? Because then, again, all down that left, Wes back in the squad, again, linking up well with Bridge. And Coker puts us 1-0 up. Nice one.
Yeah.
And then we just ride it out. Again, the Dackers, wow, man. Have you seen the goal yet?
No.
Mr. Dackers. So we get the ball by the area, and he decides to take on half the team.
Yeah.
Goes right up the other end, plays a little 1-2 with Bridgie, gets into the area, beats another couple of men, puts it on a plate for Coco, who smashes it in for 2-0, which was what a half of football that is. And then Kensdale doing what we know he can do, bringing that ball forward throughout the centre, and then a brilliant, perfect pass into Caldwell's path, who hits it first time. Past Hayes, and there we are, 3-0. And I think that's 8-0 in aggregate, I believe.
Nice.
Done the double on him.
That takes Cardwell to 16 goals for the season.
There we are.
So he's still
Is he going to hit 20?
He's still got a few games, 5 games left, is it?
I think, not many, but, it's there for him.
Yeah.
Great performance. Another fantastic performance. Good to see Coker back in playing, because he's we know what he can do. Good
he's
young.
Been in and out, a bit of an injury, I think, and he's been in and out, and he's very young. So to get 2 goals, absolutely brilliant from
away
midfield.
From home.
And I think that's something that I guess, Southend have been maybe struggling with, goals from midfield, like consistently. The fullbacks tend to chip in, don't they, with goals and assists, and the strikers. And I guess Wes has chipped in with a few, but and Husin from time to time. But great to see a midfielder on the
you create chances, you're going to score goals, and that is it really. You can see that things were changing a little, change up with the starting lineup, and it's paid dividends.
Yeah, nice. Okay, thank you very much for that, Paul. We're going to take a little break, and then after the break, we will be with our man, Pip, aka Diversity, to talk through a bit more in depth about the Solihull Moors game because he was there.
Yep.
But also find out about his vlogging and his obsession with Southend United.
Wallop.
I am here now with Southend United supporting royalty, Diversity, aka Pip is his proper name. Pip, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Well, after that introduction, I'm marvellous, mate. I'm beyond stoked. Yes, I am doing amazing. Thank you. And welcome to everyone who's listening as well. I've not been on in a few weeks, but here we are. We're back with Steve. Let's smash on with this episode.
Nice stuff. Thanks for joining us, Pip. I really do appreciate it. So we've been thinking for a while. You've been our man in the stand, which has been brilliant, and you're always reporting for us from the away games. But we thought we'd get you on and have a bit more of an in-depth chat, find out a little bit more about yourself, about how long you've been supporting Southend and whatnot. But before we get into that, we did have an away game midweek this week against Solihull, and you travelled up there. And, what a great result for the boys. How was the game?
Outstanding. But I say that first 10 minutes, we were dross. If I'm perfectly honest, we looked on the back foot. It was like a reminder of Woking on Saturday, just like, oh no, we're going to get overrun. We're going to get countered. We're in trouble. Then Colin and Dengendy went down injured. Kev brought all the boys into a huddle. I don't know what was said, but a miracle or something, because after that, they switched it on and just went full press on Solihull. And it worked up the field, winning the ball, getting into good positions. Marcus Dackers, I've covered it in the video, and I'm sure plenty have said it on game of his life, I tell you.
Nice.
Absolutely outstanding. Was involved in nearly all the goals. 2 first-half goals from Ollie Coker, outstanding. And then the third one from Cardwell. It was just the icing on the cake. And an 8-0 aggregate versus Solihull Moors. What more can you ask for?
Exactly. What more can you ask for? Great result on the road. Amazing form at the minute for the boys. Like 11 unbeaten, I think it is now. So just really kind of, looking relatively safe. I know it's, it could get quite slippy if there were a couple of losses, but, absolutely brilliant form. Great to see Coker as well, because I know he's been out of the team for a little while, a few injuries over the season. But he's back and scoring a couple of goals, which is lovely to see. Goals from midfield, I said to Paul on the main pod, have been, a little bit hard to come by. And it's a good sign when you've got your midfielders scoring, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've got Noor Hussein, who famously we would say is our attacking midfielder, our playmaker. But this season, I think from my perspective, he's more of that holding box-to-box kind of player, not as much like grab the ball, bring it down, be not afraid to shoot and just dig one out. I mean, obviously, against, we say Solihull at home, he had a cracker from outside the box going, so I can't be too harsh on Noor. But yeah, Coker, every game, there's a fun fact for anyone listening, every game Ollie Coker has scored in, Southend have won the game.
Nice.
So that, in itself, that's crazy enough. But he's such a young lad. He's been bought for the youth, raised up into what has been a season of uncertainty, and he's performed when he's been given those chances. And there's a few murmurs in the crowd. You hear every now and then at weekends, oh, Coke will be loaned out next season, or we don't really need him. So we really do.
Exactly.
That young, energetic pace just to go, you know what, get the ball down, have a dig. If it goes in, it goes in. If it misses, I gave it a go.
Nice. Well, he certainly had a good game the other night against Solihull. So thanks for recapping that for us, Pip. So moving on to the main kind of part of the pod, or part of this interview, should I say. We just wanted to kind of find out a bit more about yourself. As I introduced you, you are Southend supporting royalty. You're pretty well known now. Award-winning vlogger. So for those of you that don't know, Pip is mainly kind of a YouTube guy, follows Southend around and reports from every game, home and away. And actually, it's a really great way if you can't make it to home games to kind of feel close to the travelling fans and to kind of, just find out and see a bit of footage that you post up and stuff so you can see the goals from the fans' perspective. But Pip, what gave you the idea to start the channel? How long have you been doing it? And, talk us through it. Why did you start it?
Right, people, sit back because this is really not an interesting story. But Diversity, it completely came around by random. Diversity, obviously, it doesn't have a direct link to Southend. And people ask, why do you call your channel Diversity? Diversity was never meant to be a vlogging channel, ever. It was never. I was always too afraid to pick up a camera and do a FaceTime call or even a face-to-face like now I'm doing with you, Steve. I was 5 years ago, I was not that bloke. And then it was going to be a gaming channel, D1versity. It was going to be something completely different, and that didn't take off well. And I thought, well, you have one chance to put it right. And at that time, I had a real buzz for Southend. I think it was League One. We were in that relegation scrap, the season where we beat Sunderland on the last game of the season to stay up. It was that season I begun vlogging, and I did my first game at home to Plymouth, which, if some of you will remember, Charlie Kelman, halfway line, bang over the keeper's head. It was a great video to start with. It gave a real talking point. It only got 200 odd views, but it was amazing feeling to think I've put myself in front of a camera, and for my first video, no one slated me. People watched it. They were like, "This is actually quite good." And I just thought, "Wow, okay, that's something different." I was fully expecting to not show my face in Roots Hall again or be associated, and it just carried on from there. It went from the likes of League One. Then we had the COVID season, so difficult for fans, obviously, to keep in touch with your club. But really, when we hit the National League, D1versity, the channel took off. In a way, first game away at Kings Lynn, the video got 4,000 views, over 200 likes. It was something that really made me open my eyes, as away from a camera, I'm a completely different lifestyle. I'm a chef by trade.
Okay.
So to pick up a camera and do cooking in the same video, they don't line up very well. So to tell people at your work, I'm going to start this YouTube thing now. I did one video and it's done this sort of numbers, is like, really? Are you sure? Do you reckon you'll make it? And people doubted me along the way, but I just said, well, if I give it my all, and if people don't like it, then okay, my time will come. But whilst it's here, I'm going for it. I'm going to harness everything people are giving me. And as time's gone on, like you said in your gorgeous intro, I must add, you said I was royalty, and now I won an award. I won an award because of people like you, Steve, people who listen and watch what I do. It's all a credit to these sort of people that make my channel where it is today. And without that, D1versity wouldn't even be nowhere near where it is now. So to end it on a nice note, thank you to everyone so far along my journey.
Well, you've built up a really great community, and I've got to say, we're both wearing hats, but hats off to you, because it does take a bit, and I know personally, it does take a bit to kind of put yourself in front of a camera or a microphone and kind of put yourself out there. So well done for doing that, mate. That's absolutely brilliant, and I know you've got a lot of fans out there. So yeah, brilliant. So I'm going to move on to a few kind of getting to know you questions, if that's okay. So first one is, you follow Southend. In fact, you follow Southend at home because you don't live in Southend, right? So it's actually a chore for you to get to home games. This is how dedicated this guy is. So you have to travel to the home games and you follow them to every away game. What's the furthest you've travelled to go and watch Southend?
Ooh, that's a good one. Off the top of my head, I'd say Gateshead straight away, just because that long away day, you wake up at 6 a.m. and you go, is this the right decision day? If we get 6-0 like Gateshead won 7-1 the other weekend, this is going to be a really long day. But I'd say Gateshead is the furthest. But like you said, I'm not a Southend resident as such. I live near Reading, 8 miles away from it, and I was brought up to be a Southend boy because my old man, he was born in Southend, about 2 miles away from Roots Hall in a block of flats. He was born in there and he was raised by his family to be Southend through and through. And he said to me, when we moved to Berkshire, Hampshire way when I was younger, you can support what you want. I'm supporting Southend. And that stuck with me, this fan base, this club, unity, united and all that. And that's something this season we've seen a lot of with fans and families and generations coming together. It really stuck with me. And when I was younger, I used to go with my mates to watch teams like Reading, Southampton, Pompey. There was no connection. There was no love. And my old man, one weekend, Southend were playing Bristol City. I want to say it was 2004 when we got promoted at home. That was my first game I remember. I've got a photo somewhere of me with big Southend flag standing in the East Stand on one of the seats, cheering away. And from that day, as early as I can remember, this club has meant everything to me inside. And it's a bond that I've only seen grown over time. And then when the opportunity to go onto YouTube and saw that grow, it made me love this club even more and open my eyes to maybe more things about the club, like in-depth things, how the financial side of it, the mismanagement, the which we've all been open to this season. But It's taken, a long time, but the furthest away game, we've gone really off top here, but the furthest away game I'd say is, Gateshead, off the top of my head, and there's York and other ones, but Gateshead we'll say.
It's pretty far away. So, mate, honestly, your dedication is to be admired. So, keep it up. And you really hit the nail on the head there when you talked about the community of fans that have obviously pulled together this season. You know, we've tried to document a lot of that. So we've had guys from the from the trust on, and we've had guys from the protest group on, and they're sort of didn't want to give away their identities and stuff because they're outside Ron Martin's house quite a lot. So and I think that's been said by a lot of people, that the Southend fans this season in particular, kind of the penny dropped, and everyone sort of thought, right, we've got to united in the name, and we've got to be united to kind of stand up to this stuff and kind of overcome it. So what is your favourite game that you've ever been to whilst watching Southend?
Wow. Well, okay, you've really got me stuck now, because recently I had another interview and I got this exact same question. It took me about 45 minutes to think of an answer. So people, I'm not going to keep you that long, I promise.
You're well rehearsed.
Yeah, I'm well prepared for this today, but there's a few. You've got your standouts. So Man United at home. I wasn't there live for it, but I watched it on the telly. That's just a memory. You've got Tottenham when we went to Old White Hart Lane. Sunderland at home's one. There's plenty of weight, but the one I think stands out for multiple reasons, and it was in fact this season. I'll give people 5 seconds just to have a little think. What do you think it could be? Kidderminster away is the answer, for the simple reason we got our club back. That was the day, or in fact the game, that it was announced that contracts had been exchanged and we were on a further down the path road to being our club again, to having the united, like we said, the community being brought back together after this season of treachery, lies, despair. Kidderminster at home, you had Justin Rees in the crowd, you had fans that weren't worried after a game going, oh, we're going to be able to pay so-and-so afterwards, are we bust next week? You had just relief in there. Yeah. People could enjoy a game for the first time this season. It was just such a feeling that had been missed in those stands, that for the obvious reason, Kidderminster away has to be my favourite game.
Well, I remember watching your video blog from that game, and the atmosphere looked absolutely amazing because the news came in, didn't it, just before kickoff, I think. So everyone was like, amazing. And the fact that Justin was there, and it was obviously a really celebratory mood. So brilliant stuff. So that's fave game. Who's your favourite Southend player of all time?
You are making this easy, mate. I'll say that. You said I had time to rehearse. I've got nothing written in front of me. This is all off the top of my head right now. Favourite player of all time? Ouch. Wow. Okay, so if we're going to go from a young D1versity Pip way, it has to be Freddie Eastwood, because that was my growing up period. That's the guy who my dad would say, Southend has scored, and you go, who scored? Freddie Eastwood.
Of course.
And then obviously, of course, you wouldn't think, but yeah, Freddie Eastwood just happened to score a few goals for us, a few good ones in there, but a few hat-tricks, nothing special or anything. But there was that period. Then you had people like Ryan Leonard, an amazing midfielder. When he left to go to Sheffield United, I was heartbroken. Honestly, this is way before YouTube, but I was I read that message to myself and just went into despair. But of all time, you don't make this easy. But for the obvious reason, I have to say, because he's done an incredible job so far throughout these last 3 years of his tenure, Kevin Mayer.
Yeah.
Just for the playing side alone, captain, leader, didn't mind leaving a tackle in late, gave the referee plenty of mouth, a proper old school midfielder, chipped in with goals, assists, free kicks, and his tenure, that would take years to go through on this podcast or on this interview now, but Kevin Mayer all day long for me.
Yeah. Absolute legend. And he could play, couldn't he? So yeah, great pick, Pip. Okay, so Southend you've been supporting since very young, I can tell. And over those years there'll have been a few events and a few ups and a few downs. So starting with the ups, what is your kind of favourite high point Apart from the game that you've already mentioned, Kidderminster away, leave that one aside, but tell us about a high point in your Southend supporting time.
Right. So I think we can all agree the last sort of 5 seasons following Southend, it's been tough. It's been hard for all of us, like for you, for me, for everyone listening. It's been tough to watch our club slowly go down the hill and just get to its point almost where it's on its knees. I'd say, again, growing up, a high would be just attending games as a young boy with my old man and my uncle, my dad's brother, just going to games like that. But I'd say, obviously, we said no, can't mention Kidderminster. So I'd have to say, just in general, games, just there's no standout one. Games where you're with people who care for a club, who love it, who don't mind if you lose 6-0 away at Gateshead or if you win 5-0 at Aldershot. Just fans on game days are a special thing in the stands. Like, what I love to do is get people's reaction, raw emotion. You see that so many times from just different perspective, from anger to hate to love, passion, enthusiasm. I have to say, a standout have to be the fans all season long, seasons before. We've been through the despair and the heartache. Now we're in, hopefully, fingers crossed, to a light season, something bright ahead at the end of the tunnel. I see you crossing your fingers there, you. But hopefully we are on the right now and us fans can rejoice and enjoy the football.
Absolutely. So we've had the high point, and I think I'm pretty sure what you're going to say here. I mean, I'm sure there have been a few over the years due to the ownership. But yeah, low points, Pip. What's your lowest point, lowest ebb supporting Southend United?
Wow. Okay. So again, we're going to take some time here, people. So go make a hot drink while you're at it. But you have to start with the obvious, the court cases, hearing. So I wasn't able to attend the one where Chris Phillips was there and Ron Martin stood up in front of the judge saying, we're going to be sold to this Australian bloke. And the judge has to really think that he taps his fingers on the desk and he looks around going, and ah. And then you hear that line that he says, if you weren't a football club, you would be wound up today. That, I had to think, was the lowest we could ever be. And then you'd think week after week, you can't get any lower than that. And then first game of the season, 16 players. Then a couple months later, we welcome the league leaders now promoted. Well done to Chesterfield, by the way. Must put that in there. They come to Rootsall. We can only name one substitute. We have people turning up to our chairman's hopefully soon to be chairman's house, just having a go at him for all the right reasons, obviously, for what he's done to this club. There's been numerous downs, obviously relegations involved in that. But I have to say, yeah, court cases stand above it. Hearing that a person of authority about to say, if you weren't a football club with diehard fans, you'd be gone. You'd be expelled. You wouldn't have a club anymore. And you can't just turn the switch and go and support, like, for instance, Southend Manor, Braintree, Basel, all the local clubs in Essex. You can't just turn that around. It's a lifelong thing being a fan of any club, let alone Southend. So, yeah, we'll leave it on that and move on quick, but hopefully no more downers or despair to come.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed that really terrible patch is out of the way. It is taking a while, though, isn't it, in terms of getting the deal sort of finalised and the actual ownership switched over. But yeah, I think that the signs are obviously positive, and it's all looking rosy for the future. And that's really my final question for you, Pip. Actually, is how are you feeling about being a Southend fan? It's actually been a good season in terms of the football and where they look like they're going to end up, barring some kind of disaster. But how are you feeling about next season and maybe the next 3 to 5 years being a Southend fan with everything that's on the horizon?
I'm most looking forward going to a new season with no debts, no HMRC, nothing outstanding. A clean slate is what I'm calling it. A season where we don't, like I said, fans don't have to worry. We can go in, if we make a statement signing or anyone comes into this club, okay, that's brilliant. But I would happily take, and this can be recorded and shared as far as it wants, I would happily take a mid-season finish next season as long as we didn't have any debts, court cases or anything against our name, just for a year, just so we can build relationships in the community, bring back fans who left Roots Hall because of the obvious disasters with Ron Martin, and just build stable bridges again. They've been burnt over all these years because of one man. Just come back to Southend, make it home again, and the love will spread everywhere. The next 3 to 5 seasons, I know Justin Rees and the consortium have big ideas to say we'll be in League One, Championship. That's where we want to aim for. And that is, I think that's a credit to them to say we're coming in 3 to 5 years. We want to be here. Is a really exciting feel for starters. And I have to honestly agree with them. I'd love to say Southend will be a League One team in 5 years, but who knows? Southend is a roller coaster ride. We know that firsthand. You think Southend have done it, and then it'll slip up, and all the fans will go into despair. It was like earlier this season, we were at mid-table, we were promotion, relegation. Where are we going? Where are we going? One week we'd win, next week we'd lose. Like, oh God! And all the fans would jump on the bandwagon of saying promotion, relegation, etc., etc. But I'd love to say 3 to 5 years, wherever we are, whatever league, we are stable, we are happy, and we love our club. That is all. And I'll happily leave it on that, just to say position doesn't matter, but community and fans should be at the heart.
What a lovely way to end that. What a lovely way to end that, Pip. Mate, thank you so much, not just for doing this interview, but also for being our man in the stands consistently throughout the season. Long may that continue. We do really appreciate it. So from everyone at Shrimperscast, massive thanks, Pip, aka D1versity. Thanks for joining me today, mate.
Thank you, Steve. Pleasure. Up the Blues!
Huge thank you to Pip, aka D1versity. If you don't already follow him, check out his YouTube, which is his main channel for all of his vlogging as he follows Southend around the country. He is on YouTube at D1versity with a 1. So D1versity, but with a 1 at the start after the D. Okay, so little break, and we'll be back in a mo with Paul's previews. Welcome back, and now it's time for everyone's favourite part of the podcast.
Paul's previews.
Paul, busy Easter schedule, couple of games coming up, starting with an away game against Ebbsfleet on Good Friday.
Yep.
And, I hear that the ticket sales are through the roof.
Insane.
Yeah?
Absolutely. 100%. We're taking over 1,600 mighty Blue Boys, mighty Shrimpers, down the road into Ebbsfleet for this game, which is probably going to be more than their average home attendance, I reckon.
Yeah.
We're going to take over the town, but they're going to need all the support because Ebbsfleet, at the moment, even though they're down there, this year, I don't know what happened at Christmas. I don't know what Santa brought them, but they have turned it on.
Yeah.
Seriously, this is insane. But looking at their form. So if we look at their home record this year, right, they've only lost once. They've only drawn once, and they've won the rest. That's beefy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's very beefy. You know, even in just in the league, home and away, they've only lost 3 in the 11 games played, where they've just lost the 3, drawn the 2. And that's an insane stat. So they are bang in form.
Yeah. Southend are in form, though, as well, right? So,
well, yes, we are unbeaten in 11. And, you know, unbeaten runs do come to an end.
Yeah.
This is going to be a test.
Yeah.
If we get out of this with a draw or a win and we come away, then, mate, we're going to win the league next season, hands down. But when we look at their last 5, just in the league, Ebbsfleet this is, they've won 3, haven't drawn a game, and they lost just the 1. They've scored 10, but they have conceded 8. So they can't, they do concede a fair few. At their home record, they've won 4, drawn 1, haven't lost at all in their last 5 at home, scoring 10, conceding only 3. So it's all there to do, right? It is a challenge, a proper challenge.
Big challenge on Good Friday. So you're a big fan of kind of ex-Southend players, ex-Shrimpers, and tracking them and seeing how they're doing. And, they've got one, haven't they?
2.
Ebbsfleet, 2. And, one of them's their star boy for the season with 15 goals. Yeah,
Mr. Dom Polion. He was with us as a young lad, went on for a great career and went off to Leeds, various other clubs. He's banged in 15 this season. It's coming, he's in his early 30s now, so he could be tailing off, but he's still going to be a threat. You've got Josh Wright, the former midfielder we had, a bit of a journeyman now, been out and about. But there's one player right? I don't know if he's going to make the squad because he's been out the squad for the last few games. But do you remember Jordan Ibe?
Of course. I'm a Derby County fan. We had him on loan from Liverpool back in the day.
Well, Liverpool young lad came through, didn't he? Went to Derby. I think he went to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And Premier League footballer, but unfortunately fell out of the game due to mental health and various other issues. But back in the game now with Ebbsfleet, and there's no doubt in that, man. He's 28. No doubt in his quality. If he makes the squad,
very talented player.
Hugely talented player. Huge, and if he's on it, ready to go, he's going to be a real handful.
Yeah. Real threat, real danger. Well, that'll be a treat, if he does get on. I mean,
we're good to see him play.
Very high quality player, so it'll be good for totally. Southend, for the 1,600 Southend fans. It'll be a nice treat in terms of the quality. That
and what support that is.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Incredible.
Best in the league.
Incredible. So that's Good Friday. Then we have a couple of days off, and then they play again at home on Easter Monday against Boreham Wood, who. I think they're struggling, aren't they?
Massively. But, looking at the last home game against Woking, I really hope this isn't going to be too ballroom either. Yeah. You know what I mean? Hey, how to get that in.
Here he is,
here all week. But no, they are literally... do you know what? I think they've gone under the radar into the relegation fight here because no one's really mentioned too much about them. But they are in abysmal form. I mean, their last 5, they haven't won a game. They've drawn 1, lost 4. They only scored 2, conceding the 9. On the road... They haven't won any, they haven't drawn any, and they've lost 5 of the last 5.
Wow.
Yeah, scoring 3, conceding 12. They've only won once on the road this year. They've drew 1, lost the rest. Out of them, I think it's 11 games or something, they've only picked up 13 points out of a possible 42 in 2024.
Wow.
So they are free-falling at the moment. I think their star man is Leon Luff. He's only got 8. So I'm not really worried about him.
Yeah, not really big numbers, is it?
No, not really.
Anyone else in their squad that we should be looking out for?
Well, I don't think he's got his brother's talent, but Timmy Abraham is down there. I mean, the Tammy Abraham, the Roma forward.
Yeah, formerly at Chelsea.
Yes, that man there. So Timmy is there, just another footballer of note. But can I see Boreham getting a result, looking at this current form, and saying literally free falling down into the relegation fight? Not particularly. We need to turn these draws, these ball scores that we've been having as well. I mean, we drew with the Hartlepool away, Woking away. We just looked at me at the last, 11 unbeaten. But these silly little draws.
There's a lot of draws.
A lot of draws. But we need to start turning them into positive results. There's teams down there scrapping them in Kidderminster with Phil Brown, who's down there. They are scrapping away, getting positive results. And they're bringing these other teams in. Wilston got done 4-1, I think. Was it 4-1 last night? They're now banging it in it as well. So I think there's teams falling into it, and the teams in and around that have been there are now kind of climbing out of it.
Yeah, you can get dragged out of it, into it.
Yeah.
But it's that thing. It's so tight that a couple of wins as well can sort of
launch you out,
see you out of it. Yeah, exactly.
I can't see Boreham. Unfortunately, no disrespect to them, but they're down there for a reason, and they're not scoring. No. They're not picking up any points from anywhere. Can you see them getting a result at Rootsall? Not particularly.
No. And hopefully Southend will have a bit of momentum from the Ebbsfleet game. They've obviously beat Solihull Moors now, so they've got a win under their belts. Yeah. Take that into the Easter weekend, and hopefully a couple of positive results coming our way.
Absolutely. We need a strong end to this season because we want to be going in to the 24-25 season, all guns blazing, challenging for that title.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, as it's Easter, that would be excellent, wouldn't it, Paul?
Hey!
So you had one, I've had one.
Here we are.
Terrible puns on the podcast. Okay, big thanks to you, Paul, for joining me today.
Always a pleasure, never a chore, dear boy.
And big thanks to Pip for joining us for his interview.
Legend.
And last but not least, huge thank you to all of you guys out there listening. Please don't forget to give us a little follow, a little like, a little share, and please spread the love. Tell your Southend fan mates, tell them about the podcast, and get them to sign up and give us a little listen. That's it from us. We'll see you next week. Up the Blues.
Up the Blues.